Cool.
Yep. Mhm. Where's that at? Mhm. 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 Just built-in microphone. Yes, it's built-in microphone. Built-in microphone. Built-in microphone. Mhm. Don't play nothing. Play the instrumental. Mhm. No. Yeah, I took it out and I put it back in. All I saw was that blue symbol on top, and then it disappeared.
This is the laptop.
Mhm. That's the Ethernet.
Oh yeah, that's it. Boy, Dr. Paul called me at like 7. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
You are tuned in to Minding Our Black-Owned Business. We have now one team.
You and Michael talked about some key stuff. Basically, the project needed insurance. I'm now in the space of commercial real estate and trying to understand what that looks like. And so I have a wonderful, normal insurance person that, when I'm doing events and stuff, that covers it.
Yep.
But what happened is when you have commercial real estate, there's different insurance you need. And when you're getting a loan, my bank wanted 133% of the actual loan project covered, right? And this number was high in the 6 figures. We got the quotes from bigger companies like the State Farms and the Countryside and all of them. That's who they were with. Mm-hmm. I was getting back prices like between $11,000 and $15,000 for like a 6-month policy, for a construction policy. And we got to eat this ridiculous amount of money. And mind you, it's COVID. My company, there's no money coming in. Everything was stopped. I'm like, we got to do it. We got to get this insurance. Michael did that post. And with me, I'm always trying to support not just Black, but my own. If I know you, it's a trust thing, right?
Yep.
So I immediately, as soon as I sent that post, I text Mike. I'm like, dude, can you do this? And it was like a Saturday night. He hit Junior. Really? I'm like, oh, send that contract right now, Junior. We good. And I mean, literally, I didn't know that because we're so used to hearing brands doing insurance. What I've learned during COVID is to stop and really read. I love the pictures and everything, but when you start to read the context, like people be like, when Michael or people are putting stuff and they're saying, are you really reading?
Right.
Or are you just going along with everybody saying congratulations and filtering the first thing that pops up that Facebook wants you to say? And Michael has coached me in so many things that literally saved me money. And I wanted people to know, especially when you're getting into commercial mixed use, if it's property, you need someone with insurance. My insurance person told us, she said, it's best to go through someone like Michael, but people don't know those companies exist because what happens is they would actually solicit Michael for pricing. Then Michael would give them a price, then Country Time put their pricing on it, and then the agent has to put their prices on it, and that's why you get triple the cost.
Right.
Everybody's hand is in it because they're reaching out to brokers.
Come all the way with me. Don't leave me now.
Church Chicago's Power Hour. I'm your host, Angie Mims, and
Terrence Keys, TD, a.k.a. Terrence Daniels.
do you believe that God's going to turn it around?
I got to.
Why?
Why? Because he's did it before.
Come on.
And he'll do it again.
Yes. Yes.
That
yes.
you can do it again.
Yes. Come on here.
Come on, I better leave that alone.
Somebody calling you right now,
Somebody
Lord.
calling you right now, Lord. If it ain't one thing, I better go. God's going to turn it around.
And I feel like we have to encourage the people because so many people are just truly depressed. They're going through the holiday blues, and we want you to know that you don't have to be discouraged. But you can, in fact, be encouraged because God's going to turn it around.
Don't turn it around. It's me again. God's gonna turn it around. I'm calling on you. You did it before.
Tune in every Sunday. Don't miss it. Live from the West End for the Black People Media Studios. It is the Kickoff Kickback. Join the conversation with the brothers, Eugene, McIntosh, Herb Howard, and myself, Terrence Tomlin.
We got analysis live from the stadium. The brother Joe Lewis will be following through. We got great guests coming in, players, personnel, people.
Say what?
We do our thing every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, taking you right up to kickoff.
We picking the full slate of NFL games. We talking fantasy football. Gino got you covered on all the bets. It's a kickback.
Make sure y'all join the conversation. Smash that like button. Smash that share button. And continue to help us push the culture forward.
Don't miss it every Sunday from 10 a.m. to 12 noon, live here from the West End for the Black People Media Studios.
Calling us the bigs, it's the bigs, it's the bigs, but not because I side the bigs. I side, it's the bigs, it's the bigs. They calling us the bigs, it's the bigs, it's the bigs, but not because I side. It's the bigs, it's the bigs. They calling us the bigs, it's the bigs, it's the bigs, but not because I side.
It is the Bigs. You are back on the soil.
You know.
Happy Wednesday to everybody tuned in to the West End for the Black People Media Studios. To get your sports fix in for the next couple of hours, man, I am your man, Terrence Tomlin. Y'all can call me T-Tom. One half of the illest independent sports media outlet in the land. Coming to you as always with my player partner, Eugene McIntosh.
What did now, fool?
What's going on, bro? How you feeling today?
Man, I can't complain, brother. Blessed and highly favored, like Cousin 2 always says, man. Happy to be here on this Wednesday afternoon. I saw the snow when I woke up this morning. Like, is it really snowing outside, man?
You know what? I didn't even see the snow until I pulled up to your crib. The hunters didn't get anything, at least anything that stuck.
So you didn't see nothing white on the ground when you stepped out your door?
I think nothing white when nothing was on the ground at all in the hunters. But when we let the dog out this morning, it was flurrying a little bit. But when I pulled up to your crib, I'm like, oh, we got a little busy out here. So, yeah, man.
Yeah, I was surprised, man. I woke up this morning like, am I tweaking or is it snowing? So I went to the window and I'm like, oh, I see the flurries going. So I guess, hey, man, it ain't officially winter in the shot until you see that snow on the ground.
Oh, yeah, and you got the coat to go with it. It's definitely kind of brick outside today. I took a quick look ahead, one of those 14-day forecasts. I had to look at it to see if we was going to end up getting a white Christmas, and what's crazy is it's actually supposed to snow next week, a decent amount. So
yeah, yesterday I was busting a move for the Bigs, and I was talking to a lady in the lobby yesterday, and she was like, man, it's cold out there. I said, yeah. I said, but luckily it ain't snowing. She said, yeah, I looked at the forecast, and I think it's supposed to be snowing next week.
Yeah, it's supposed to get a little busy next week. We shall see. They've been wrong a decent amount of time lately. So,
man, if you listen to Channel 2, they're going to tell you it's going to be 50 next week. You listen to Channel 5, they're going to tell you it's going to be below 0. If you listen to Channel 7, they're going to tell you it's going to be 25. So
yeah, man, I think you got to stick to time skill, and you got to go with the OG on when it comes to the weather, right?
Or how about you just not stick to none of it and do like black people do, man? We check the weather by going outside, bro.
Step outside. Okay, it's a heavy coat day.
That's the real way to check the temperature.
Absolutely,
man.
Absolutely.
How you doing, brother?
I'm doing real good, man. Looking forward to next week. I got a couple of family traditions that we're going to be getting busy. My cousins are getting together, going to see my nephew before he gets out of town to go see his Baltimore family. So, man, you know how I get down when I'm
Sunny
not here.
Digital.
Come on, man. That's the one and only right there, man. But you know how I am when I'm not on the bigs. I'm with the fam. We're doing something, along those lines. So
It's only right.
that's on tap for your boy, man. This is really our season, but everything's kind of different. But the cousins, still got to keep a few of their traditions alive,
No doubt, man. It's all about, I'm one of them guys, man. The older I get, and we talked about this last week, but it's like I'm just really not for the holiday in itself. I enjoy the holiday, people getting the chance to take a break from work, getting the chance to be around the family, just spend some quality time with the people you love. But the actual holidays, nah, you can miss me with that. And I wouldn't say I'm a Scrooge because I love the Christmas spirit. I like to see the lights.
Somebody's definitely going to call you a Scrooge.
Hey,
you're the Grinch.
Call me whatever you want to call me, man. But if you know me for real, I'm lighthearted, always spirited. And, I love to see the lights. I love to see the decorations, people decorating their cribs, kids happy because they're going to be getting a lot of gifts. And I got the few of the guys. Terry Hogan's birthday is December 24th. I know Watt's birthday is December 21st. So, the guys.
Oh, yeah, it's celebration season.
Another rotation, another rotation around the sun for the brothers, man.
Absolutely, man. But on top of that, some decent news in baseball today that I had a good time reading up on this morning, man. The Negro League baseball news.
Hey, man, but we gotta check the temperature.
Before we go any further,
before we get into this real sports talk, we gotta check the temperature, and there's always some real talk that needs to be acknowledged. We're here to talk sports and bring that aspect, but some things, man, we gotta touch on. Whether it's politics, I ain't talking religion with nobody, but whether it's politics or any other news, politics. Thank you. I feel like it. Certain things need to be addressed, and I don't think I could go on without addressing the whole CPD at it again, man.
CPD, Chicago. This, like you said, Chicago politics 101.
So they bust in the lady's crib. She's standing there naked.
Mm-hmm.
They bust her crib down. They continue to bust her crib down, all while she's standing there naked. No one seems to care. None of the white guys. I saw a black guy. A few of them are just standing around watching this lady as she's naked. She's screaming, "What are you doing? You got the wrong house.
You got the wrong crib.
I'm legal. I don't do anything illegal. I'm a social worker." All these type of things. She's still standing there naked, though. No one seems to care that this woman is being violated. Okay, if you got to do your job and you got to search the crib, ransack the crib, bust her crib down, cool. I mean, that's not cool because you guys didn't do the knowledge before. But get that woman some clothes, man. Like, somebody do something. Do the humane thing and get this woman some cover up, man.
Man, her name was Anjanette Young. Her name is Anjanette Young. And it was uncovered by CBS investigators, man. I feel like that's, what's interesting is this was just the tip of the iceberg. They found that since, I think, 2012, they've had over 50 instances like this.
Of course.
And, of course, in this instance, they have the body cam video that not only the city but also the mayor's office tried to keep from becoming public, which has become like a theme in Chicago politics. If you're in charge, if you're the mayor, if you're sitting in that mayor's seat, and you see some wild body cam footage, let's see how long we can keep that from the public. So this is from 2 years ago.
But I feel like I've seen this video before because did you see the whole thing? Did you see the lawyer?
Keenan Salter.
Keenan,
yes,
that's our boy.
I peeped.
Shout out to Keenan, man. I worked with Keenan at Baker and McKenzie for about 13 years. Keenan is a great guy, and I felt like it was like deja vu or something. Maybe I'm tripping, but I feel like I've seen Keenan in this same position before. Now, maybe it wasn't with the same lady, but I've seen Keenan defending this same situation again and again on CBS. So I feel like this might have been the same.
Well, see, now they said it's been over 50 accidental raids on cribs, man, and I feel like this one is just. First of all, it was tough to watch, even just from the still shot of the video, and you see her standing there with a bunch of cops in her living room.
They lucky that wasn't.
It wasn't family. Exactly. But see, now that is I feel like that what you just said is exactly where my mind went, Joe. It's like when you're banging on somebody's door like that, did you see him at the door with the whatever that thing is called? And if you got something inside the crib, I'm bussing. You know what I mean? I'm like, hold on, who is this? I'm not knowing it's the cops.
And you're going to end up with another Breonna Taylor situation.
Could have easily been another Breonna Taylor situation.
And the lady she said, man, I feel like if I would have bust the wrong move, they would have shot me.
How could she not feel like that?
I agree.
And then they got the audacity to tell her, relax.
Lady, please
you don't
relax.
Need to shout. You know what I mean?
Are y'all serious?
It's humiliating. It's dehumanizing.
Degrading.
Everybody that was involved, honestly, I don't understand how they was able to keep. Well, I know how they was able to keep their jobs, but there's no way they should have been able to keep their jobs after instances like this. And I hope that she gets a big bag. You know what I mean?
So I heard she settled already for $300K.
She already settled?
For $300K.
Okay,
go
ahead.
That ain't enough.
No, exactly. That's not enough, Joe. That people need to see, and I'm not saying because they not like people don't see it or they don't know that this is going on. But when we hear stuff like, oh, defund the police is too much, or that I'll never support that coming from the city's mayor, and then we see videos like this, you know what I mean? It begs the question, when is something going to give? Is it ever going to give? You know what I mean? And then, like I said, you hear that this is not a rare occurrence. You know, this is something that happens more than you and I know happened.
Right.
Over 50 times is a lot.
And I'm pretty sure we know a few people whose cribs have been raided.
Exactly. You know what I mean? That has a story like that.
Period.
You know what I mean?
So I see a lot of talk about, because we got to start at the top with Lori Lightfoot. And I see a lot of people saying, well, it didn't happen on her watch. And it's like, well, it did happen on her watch. She was the president of COPA, wasn't she?
And honestly, I remember when Breonna Taylor went down, she, wanted to have a moment of silence, and she knew about this video. You know what I mean? So if you want to say that it didn't happen on her watch, she had knowledge of it.
It happened on her watch.
You know what I mean? So I feel like when you talk about the mayor in this situation, then you look at the fact her office tried to keep it from coming out.
Man.
Come on, man.
Dude.
Come on, man. And don't forget, you know what I mean? I support it, but the whole hashtag to support black women. You know what I mean? And then here you go with this mayor trying to, block a video of this black woman being humiliated by CPD, who she stands 100% behind.
Shout out to CBS for breaking the news, interviewing the lady, and just getting this story out here, man. I'm pretty sure it would have just been another videotape in her basement that never would have been seen.
Imagine if exactly. Imagine if you didn't have the video to this. On that note, man, like you said, we gotta have some real talk to kick it off.
Hey, Lori Lightfoot, man, we on your ass, lady.
We'll be right back on the soil.
I'm blessed.
Church Chicago's Power Hour. I'm your host, Angie Mims, and
Terrence Keys, TD, a.k.a. Terrence Daniels.
You got an inspirational word for today?
Oh, man, I'll be honored. Giving honor to God. Hey, man, on Sunday morning, it's early, so we got to give honor to God.
Yes, sir.
The good word for today is don't worry.
Mm-hmm.
Oftentimes in our life, in our walk, in our days, in our journeys, we find a way to just worry about so many things. Yeah. And we just want to encourage you today that those worries is God's responsibility. Mm-hmm. It's God's responsibility, because at the end of the day, what we worry about, most times we can't handle it.
Yes.
And we would agree together, we can't handle it, so we have to give it to God. That's his responsibility. Mm-hmm. And our job is to simply believe.
Yes.
Simply believe. When we believe, the Bible says all things are possible.
Come on through here.
I better leave that alone. I feel my
preaching already.
You feel it? So be anxious for nothing. Even the Bible says don't worry about anything. In Matthew 6:33 it says don't worry about anything, but seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these other things be added unto you. So we're here to encourage you.
Lillard, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
Hey, this is Jason Kidd, and we're rocking with the Bigs. I'm Chris Bryant from the Chicago Cubs, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
This is Mark Cuban, the Dallas Mavericks. You're rocking with the Bigs.
Better. Traffic jam fan. You know it. I'm from the middle of the map. I get around. I've been there and back. Born in Gary, Indy, just to be exact. Got family in the go and family in the nap. Same shit everywhere, saw it in the A out on old Nat. Sucker free suckers can't take the heat, nah they gon' rap. Big dumb cats, big guns clap. Another brother dead, another mother son lack. I'm from the era where the niggas did scrap. Seen the same person shot with two different straps. You don't want this, now you don't want that. Tired of fuck shit, wanna take a nap. I'm a dog on these chicks, just a different cat. Must make at least a M to make an impact. May just paint the Benz matte black, fresh head to toe. Never wore socks that didn't match. Cause I'm from the middle of the map. Yeah, I'm from the middle of the map. I'm from the middle of the map. Nigga, I get around. I've been there and back. Yeah, I'm from the middle of the map. I'm from the middle of the map. Yeah, I'm from the middle of the map. I get around. I've been there and back. Check. I'm from the middle of the map. I get around. I've been there and back. Born in Gary, Indy, just to be exact. Got family in the go and family in the nap. Talking money, shit hit my jack. If it don't make sense, shit I can sense that. Blowing big loud, never the mid pack. See you talk the talk, that's just big cap. Nigga, I walk the walk with graduation hats. Fuck your opinion, nigga, in fact. You fuck my bitch, shit, I tip my hat. Now she dead to me, can't bring her back. Play the game, play the field, never been set. Bulls game, flow seats just like my Benz mats. Blunt to my lips, gun on my hip, her project pack. Act not my cup of tea, rather sip some yak. Cause I'm from the middle of the map. Yeah, I'm from the
We are back on the soil, kicking it live from the West End and from the Black People Media Studios.
You know,
Gino,
what it did now.
You know what? Let me let you inside my mind real quick. One of my, what can I call it? A guilty pleasure. Every time that I'm getting ready for the show and I'm thinking about topics, and we have a baseball topic to talk about, I'm like, oh, I don't have to think about who I want to talk about with, or who we should have want to talk about this topic, because I have a BBWAA member sitting with me all the time to discuss any baseball issue that may occur. And I feel like this one is something that's important to discuss. Long overdue, but still important to discuss, bruh. So to bring everybody up to speed, Commissioner Manfred, who Gene accurately describes as the worst commissioner in all of sports, finally did something right.
He finally did something right. Hey, Rob Manfred, today is the first day that I have something positive to say about you, brother. Salute. I salute. T.I. meme salute to Rob Manfred for making the move.
Yes, man. MLB is officially elevating the Negro Leagues to Major League status, which means the Negro League stats from 1920 to 1948, which was the existence of the Negro Leagues, will be implemented into Major League and into their record book. So any player that may have played in the Negro League and
close to like 3,400, I think.
Exactly. Their stats will now be added to from what they did in the Negro League, and vice versa. Even if they never played in the Negro League, in major leagues, your stats will count as a Major League Baseball history. It sounds crazy that wasn't always, or at least hadn't already been taken care of in 2020. That still hadn't been done.
This is why
it's crazy.
But this is why we always talk about MLB being the least progressive of all the professional organizations because of things like this. And I feel like you said, this is long overdue, man. The Negro Leagues were an integral part of who we are as a people. And I feel like a lot of those Negro League players would have been outstanding players in the Major League Baseball system. I feel like even a guy like Jackie Robinson, you know, had he stayed in the Negro Leagues, had he not tried to break the barrier, and I mean, it's great that he broke the barrier. There's still only like 6% black players in the MLB now. But had he been, who knows where the Negro Leagues could have gone had they not tried to steal all of our best players.
And I don't think people really think of it that way because if you dig into the history of Jackie Robinson, you know, going over to baseball and breaking the color barrier, it wasn't like Jackie was the LeBron of the Negro Leagues. He was one of the best players in that league.
Exactly.
And then once MLB started to pluck the talent from the Negro League and integrate the league, you saw the demise of the Negro Leagues. But like you said, man, the talent level of the Negro Leagues was through the roof. You know what I mean? And you have to remember, no black people were allowed to play in baseball.
Right.
So you mean to tell me you don't think that was one of the highest levels of baseball being played at that time in the Negro Leagues?
Of course it was.
You know what I mean? So I feel like those players were definitely playing at a major
Josh Gibson.
leagues. Yeah, come
on, man. The guy that they're trying to name, I think is it the MVP trophy that they're trying to
name the MVP trophy
Josh
after him.
Josh Gibson should definitely be top 1 or 2 names to replace.
And that's it. It has to. Come on.
And that's a BBWAA decision.
Come on. I feel like that's definitely one of the things that has to be made right. But on the topic of Josh Gibson and his baseball career, one of the things I saw floating around on Twitter is that once they integrate the stats, and what's happening, Joe, is they got a team of people that are going over the Negro League history stats and are going to implement them into the Major League Baseball record books. So you're maybe going to see some shuffling when it comes to all-time records. And Josh Gibson is, or at least what I saw on Twitter. You let me know if you've seen any update on this. But Josh, when they combine the stats, Josh Gibson is going to be the home run leader with 800 home runs in his career.
Right.
Like, what do you think about that right there?
I mean, it should be, and just like you said about Josh Gibson, if they did implement all of that and they implement those guys' averages from Negro Leagues into the Major Leagues, a guy like Josh Gibson, who hit 365 on his career, would be in the top 10 in all time. So I feel like they have to do the right thing, man. Like I said, Negro League baseball was as competitive as it got, and MLB saw that, and they knew that if they could take the best players and try to implement them into their system, and the Negro Leagues wouldn't be able to survive, but the competition would slowly but surely fall back until people felt like, well, our only outlet is Major League Baseball.
Yeah.
So the only thing they definitely need to put those stats in the rankings of Major League Baseball.
Who you think deserves credit for this happening? Because what I don't want to happen is for Rob Manfred to get all the credit as the guy that pushed the button and made this possible. Because I have an interesting take. I give a bunch of credit to our homegirl Shakia Taylor, man.
Shake stays on these people's necks.
Absolutely, for pushing the conversation into Major League Baseball's face to the point where you end up seeing Shake writing for MLB.com on these topics. And I feel like I give her a chunk of the credit, for making sure that this is a conversation that stayed at the forefront. You know what I mean?
Well, I feel like a lot of credit needs to go to Negro League Baseball Museum President Bob Kendrick, who we've talked to.
Active.
We've met, and, you know, he drops a lot of gems on Twitter. If you follow the Negro League Baseball Museum Twitter account, there are always gems and there's always interesting information being dropped by Bob Kendrick. So I want to shout him out. But also, as I'm looking, I see Major League historian Larry Lester, who's a co-founder of the Negro Leagues Baseball Museum.
Okay.
Gary Ashwell, Scott Simkus, Mike Lynch, and Kevin Johnson for their construction of Seam Heads, which is the Negro Leagues database. So they piece together newspapers, scorebooks, photo albums, and all those type of things to give the most complete statistical record of the Negro League. So I feel like all of those people in one need the credit. And Rob Manfred, since he's the leader of Major League Baseball, I'll give him some credit, man. Because, I mean, I'm pretty sure.
Credit when it's due.
Credit when it's due. I'm pretty sure a lot of people are looking like, we didn't really need
a little bit of credit.
But real baseball historians, white, black, Asian,
that.
Chinese, Puerto Rican, whatever your background is, they know what Negro League Baseball meant to baseball as a whole. So I feel like 100 years later, like you said,
100 years later.
1920 to 1948. We're talking 100 years later, man.
This 2020 was, yes.
This was more than deserving. And like we said, a guy like Josh Gibson is no reason why those guys shouldn't share the same legacy as some of these historical Major League Baseball players.
I'm interested in how they're going to implement these stats. Are they going to take everything they did? Is it going to be any technicalities? Like, are they going to count all of Josh Gibson's 800? Are they going to do that? So I feel like it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes down and how they affect Major League Baseball record books, because the good old boys are going to be mad if Ty Cobb gets moved down a couple spots.
Right.
Right. If Babe Ruth gets moved down, if out of the top 5, you know what I mean? Oh, they're rewriting the record books. This is like the 1619 project. You know what I mean? They're rewriting history. You know what I mean? I can see those faces and voices in the documentaries already. In 2020 when they rewrote the record books.
Well, I feel like another thing that will probably go into the consideration in the end is that the Negro League seasons were not as long as the Major League Baseball season.
I saw that.
So I feel you, man. I'm interested to know where they're going to go with this. Are these players, did you read anything about these guys being eligible for Hall of Fame induction? Did you see anything about that?
Only a continuation of the conversation that the committee that they created a few years ago, the Old
Timers Committee.
Yeah,
right.
man. So, and that committee was created to specifically look at, Major League's past. So now that they're part of Major League's past, I feel like
they have to be.
Yeah, they have to be part of it.
Because when we talk to Eric Davis, about you only being eligible. You can be on the ballot 10 times. You can be on the ballot 10 times and voted 10 times before they knock you off. So Eric Davis is 10 years or up. And when we talked to Kenny, we felt like Kenny said maybe Eric Davis was on the other side of being a Hall of Famer. I still feel like they let a lot of guys in the Hall of Fame who ain't as raw.
100%.
Numbers are only one aspect of what goes into being a Hall of Famer. I feel like impact and all of these other things play a role as well. So the Old Timers Committee has a chance to give Eric Davis his flowers while he's here. So I feel like the same thing with Josh Gibson. We'll just stick with Josh Gibson. There are a number of other guys, Cool Papa, and there are a couple other guys in the Negro Leagues who are definitely Hall of Fame worthy. But I feel like Josh Gibson is no way in hell that Josh Gibson should not be in the Major League Baseball Hall of Fame, bro.
100% on point, and it's still crazy that I feel like a lot of people are hearing that name for the first time. The younger generation needs to know about the Negro Leagues, and I think that's where, our homie, the president from the Negro League, has done. From the Negro League Museum has done a great job. I see exhibits popping up all over for young baseball players to really know their history, and maybe that's an avenue for young black kids to get back into the game when they learn about a Josh Gibson.
No doubt.
Yeah,
So, do your Googles, man. Do your Googles, young people. Josh Gibson is definitely...
Google's your friend.
Google is your best friend. And, You know how they do, man. They try to write you out of history, and like the Mays Jackson page just said, they're not going to let the brothers erase white history, man.
It's going to be a battle for sure. On that note, let's take another break real quick, y'all. We'll be right back. You're kicking it on the soil with the bigs.
Yep.
Hey, family. This is Lisa E. from the Book of Dawn, and I want to wish everybody a very happy holiday season and be safe. We love you.
The Chicago Legal Network is the collaboration of attorneys that concentrate in many areas of the law most needed in Chicago neighborhoods. The CLN lawyers focus on personal injury, criminal defense, and other issues. The CLN lawyers all average over 20 years of legal experience and are dedicated to helping the Chicago community. The Chicago Legal Network is committed to developing black lawyers through mentorship and co-representation. So if you were injured in a car accident, slip and fall, or injured on the job, or you need assistance with criminal defense, including driving violations and DUI, check out ChicagoLegalNetwork.com for more information or call 773-912-3545. 773-912-3545.
You're listening to The Bigs with Eugene, McIntosh, and Terrence Tomlin.
He's bare-chested,
right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
City like the Hawk do, Black Hawk adjustable, keeps my mind thoughtful. Ain't no middleman, I'm the one you need to talk to. If you want a chance, I suggest you make an offer. Making an advance off a hoot, nah, you lost, fool. That type of talk, turn you dogs into dog food. Goofy, you a goof. Get your ass out, move. Acting like a whoop. You softer than a poop do. Ain't no 50-50, both your options is a lose-lose. I ain't got no love though, laughing while you boo-hoo. I care not for teardrops, the pity that consumes you. Pitiful piece of shit, that's how them dudes do. 415s, fuck around and knock the screws loose. This flow is schizo, your boy gone cuckoo. Yeah, I flew the coop too, you knew I had to get loose. Gun smokes the network, plug you in my Bluetooth. How can I shine if I don't try? If this is really mine, then why must I? Search for why it's so hard to find what I'm looking for. I stay in it, I'm on my shit. I can't stop winning, no, I can't quit till I make it to the time. Till we make a time on the list. Give me my spot, fully aware, living life to the fullest. I'm full of myself. Yes, I earn the right for me to pull it like triggers that trigger bullets. I bully the beat, take downs from bass lines, snatch fails from snares, smack temples on cymbals, hi-hats beware. It sounds so simple, sounded so clear, for real, so real, like Real Madrid. I do it for kicks, yeah. Them scary cats are scarier than scared. Make a pioneer near the top of the tier on my square times 2, and I ain't leaving till it's square. With a flair so debonair, debutantes gotta stare, cause I flaunts without a care. Carefully with the air of an heir to the throne, all alone in the chair. In my lair where I lay up, laying another gem. Invisible man, then I reappear. Raise your glass, make a toast, cheers. How can I shine if I don't try? If this is really mine, then why must I? Search far and wide, it's so hard to find what I'm looking for. I stay in it, I'm on my shit. I can't stop winning, no, I can't quit.
We are back at it on the soil, live from the West End for the Black
Give me
People
my
Studios.
spot.
Gino with the exclusive. That was a new one for us, right?
Man, that's Give Me My Spot by the great ML McLuder. That's a Biggs exclusive. That's only on the soil, man. It's a lot of music in that in the archives for the rest of the family.
In rotation.
The Give Me My Spot, that's a on the soil exclusive only for the Big. So shout out to my boy Mick Luder. We're gonna have a bunch more exclusive unreleased Mick Luder on the show, but you're only gonna catch that on the soil, man. So shout out to Mick. Shout out to Flo holding it down behind the boards, doing all the hard work, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. Sounds so beautiful, don't you agree?
Hey, man, before we continue, man, y'all know the rules when you rocking on the soil with the brothers, man. We need y'all to smash that like button.
1.
Smash that share button.
2.
Hit the comments, join the conversation. Help me, T, the What's in It for the Black People Media. Turn this thing up over here. Make this the hottest thing. Well, it's already the hottest thing going, but continue to help us push the content forward, push the culture forward, and continue to blow this black media thing up, man. It's cool to have a black voice in media, but it's cool to have a black company in sports media. Well, in media in general, but especially in our field, in the sports media, is really old white male dominated. So you need
100% is no denying that.
You need some cool players like us to come through and bless the people with that word and with that, with a different voice, man. Something that the people can feel.
Absolutely, man. You gotta respect it. Shout out to everybody that's on the Bigs team, man. Flo, Shake, John L. Alexander. It's definitely more than just me and Gene right here, but hey, man, happy to have y'all with us as usual.
Man, you see me, man. I'm
the Bigs out today, man. That's the OG polo. Come on, you wore that at the 2016 World Series.
It still might have a couple champagne stains on it. I don't think I washed it either.
I can't even front. I got super champagne stains on mine, and I it's crazy because I slept in my polo last night. Yeah, I mean, it's definitely.
I saw you. Yeah, we was on the yard chopping it up.
I definitely slept in my polo last night. So, man, I'm getting all the memories when I see the original, the very first, the Bigs polo.
No doubt, man. I'm feeling godly like Horace with all this
I
gold
can hear you.
on,
I can hear you. You feel me? I can hear you. Yes, sir, man. I can hear you like the Cuban links in the studio jangling on Raekwon or something. Come on.
Man, I feel like a superhero when I got the gods on my neck, man. It brings the God out of me, man. I got the Haile Selassie, I got the Marcus Garvey, I got Brother Malcolm.
The real Mount Rushmore, right?
Yeah, man. I told you if I need to add one more, it's going to either be Fred Hampton or Bob Marley. I'm trying to decide. I'm going to probably have to put a 2.
Oh, yeah. I had to go with Bob on that one.
I'm going to make a 2-in-1, man. So I'm going to be rocking the whole Mount Rushmore, man. Y'all been stealing my style for years, man. Y'all owe me a Father's Day card. Don't try to bite my style now. I went to the polls to vote, and the old ladies that, be in there chilling.
Okay, yeah.
The lady she had to throw her glasses on. She like, oh, those are beautiful. Who was that? So I gave her a close-up.
Uh-huh.
And she's like, well, what do you know about them? So I had to start dropping science on her. And she was like, oh, okay. I'm like, I got a little science behind me, Grandma. I know a thing or two. But they was feeling the change. So I just feel like, man, we in Corona situations right now, so you really can't get out in the streets and shine. But I feel like when I get out here, people going to see my shines. And they're going to try to implement what I do.
Oh, man,
so.
no, you shining with a purpose. You know what I mean?
Stop biting my style out here, y'all.
I don't know, Gino. I may have to get my own Mount Rushmore.
I know you
cracking with the jewels. I may have some wild mugs on there.
Hey, it's all good.
Prince.
Shout out to everybody that's rocking with us, man. Facebook,
100%.
YouTube, Twitch, IG, Periscope, wherever y'all watching, man. Shout out to y'all. We appreciate the family members. And we appreciate you guys more than you know, man.
More than you know. Hey, Gino, speaking of godly, bro, let's talk about somebody that just got a godly amount of money to play the game of basketball, man. Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Man, look.
Oh, I'm just going to say the figure. You guys know by now he's going back to the Milwaukee Bucks.
Woo.
He's not leaving the small market team for the big lights. He's staying in Milwaukee. They're paying him $228 million over 5 years. It's the largest contract in NBA history. The number to be exact is $228,200,826 to play the game of basketball, man. That breaks down to $45,640 per season.
And he's gonna make $50 million in the last season.
$50 million last. He's making over $500,000 per game over the length of this contract, man.
Shout out to Giannis, man.
Bruh, please tell me where was he gonna go and
Nowhere.
make that amount of money?
Nowhere. But I feel like the NBA has done a pretty good job of protecting teams who've drafted those players because, like you said, where else was he going to go to get that type of money?
The bird rights,
yeah.
which gives the team that drafted you the opportunity to pay you more than
anybody else.
Yes.
So I feel like that was a great move for Giannis. It took a minute. I feel like, he had to weigh each and every option going forward. A couple first round, those first round exits, those those Eastern Conference semifinal exits the last couple years. Haven't fared too well for him as far as the fans are concerned, but I feel like, a defensive player of the year, 2-time MVP. He's only, 25?
I'm looking up his age right now.
He's only 25, 26 at the most.
So he'll be 30 at the end of this contract.
So he's 25 right now. Didn't start playing the game of basketball until he was 13, which most of us, that's our freshman year of high school.
He's 26 years old. He's born in 94. He just turned 26 on the 6th of this month.
So 13 years ago was when he first started to play competitive basketball. So the lengths that he's grown since being that little skinny, scrawny kid in Greece to coming to the NBA, being a 2-time MVP, Defensive Player of the Year, and a franchise player, I mean, he deserves his bread, man. I know a lot of people kill me talking about who deserves what, man, he don't deserve that. And it's like, the people that paid him that thinks he deserves it.
Didn't he get it? Come on.
Miss me with all of that.
Yes.
So shout out to Giannis for showing and proving, getting his bread, having his family in the next couple generations taken care of for life. But what do you think? I mean, I feel like Giannis is basically like doing a bid in Milwaukee because I don't see Milwaukee winning no shit.
Doing a bid in Milwaukee.
Yeah, I mean, it's cool to get
And I understand because even, who's going to Milwaukee? I mean, I know Giannis is there. They still have work to do to turn into a championship team. I'm more happy for the city of Milwaukee. Like, those are the real winners in this, because without him, they were going right back to the bottom of the barrel of the league. And honestly, I've always included my Milwaukee in teams that you can just cut out of the league and nobody will care.
I agree with that 100%. And it's great that a small market team, because we saw in Oklahoma City with KD and Russ and James Harden when they started out, you saw what a small market team getting a superstar can do for the market. So that's great that Giannis has been able to maneuver and do that for Milwaukee. But he might be pulling a move in 3 or 4 years, man, wanting out.
You know what? Look at the East. The East is not the East from last year. You got KD and Kyrie back in Brooklyn. Russell Westbrook is over there in Washington with Bradley Beal now. I feel like I could have stopped after Brooklyn though. I mean, is Milwaukee built to beat Brooklyn, KD and Kyrie? You think?
I feel like with the addition of Drew Holiday, I mean, that took them up a notch, but I still don't think they have enough to beat Brooklyn. We'll see. We'll see if Giannis steps his game up. We'll see what Drew Holiday adds, but yeah, I still think they got a long way to go.
Then they lost to Miami with Jimmy Butler. And I know Jimmy and them went on to the finals and all of that, but I feel like from not beating Miami to beating KD and Kyrie is a big jump.
Hey, man, let's take a break. On the other side, when we come back, James Harden showed up in Houston yesterday, man. Yeah, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot. Yeah.
So we'll address the Houston Rockets situation and maybe some other NBA talk when we come back on the other side of this break. You are rocking On the Soil with me, my player partner, T-Tom.
Hey.
Invisible man, then I reappear. Raise your glass, make a toast. Cheers. How can I shine if I don't try? If this is really mine, then why must I? Search far and wide, it's so hard to find what I'm looking for. I stay in it, I'm on my...
You are tuned in to Minding Our Black-Owned Business. We have now one team.
You and Michael talked about some key steps. Basically, the project needed insurance. I'm now in the space of commercial real estate and trying to understand what that looks like. And so I have a wonderful, normal insurance person that, when I'm doing events and stuff, that covers it. Yep. But what happened is when you have commercial real estate, there's different insurance you need. And when you're getting a loan, my bank wanted 133% of the actual loan project covered, right? And this number was high in the 6 figures. We got the quotes from bigger companies like the State Farms and the Countryside and all of them. That's who they were with. Mm-hmm. I was getting back prices like between $11,000 and $15,000 for like a 6-month policy, for a construction policy. And we got to eat this ridiculous amount of money. And mind you, it's COVID. My company, there's no money coming in. Everything was stopped. I'm like, we got to do it. We got to get this insurance. Michael did that post. And with me, I'm always trying to support not just Black, but my own. If I know you, it's a trust thing, right?
Yep.
So I immediately, as soon as I sent that post, I text Mike. I'm like, dude, can you do this? And it was like a Saturday night. He hit Junior. Really? I'm like, oh, send that contract right now, Junior. We good. And I mean, literally, I didn't know that because we're so used to hearing brands doing insurance. What I've learned during COVID is to stop and really read. I love the pictures and everything, but when you start to read the context, like people be like, when Michael or people are putting stuff and they're saying, are you really reading?
Right.
Or are you just going along with everybody saying congratulations and filtering the first thing that pops up that Facebook wants you to say? And Michael has coached me in so many things that literally saved me money. And I wanted people to know, especially when you're getting into commercial mixed use, if it's property, you need someone with insurance. My insurance person told us, she says, it's best to go through someone like Michael, but people don't know those companies exist because what happens is they would actually solicit Michael for pricing. Then Michael would give them a price, then Country Time put their pricing on it, and then the agent has to put their prices on it, and that's why you get triple the cost.
Right.
Everybody's hand is in it because they're reaching out to brokers.
WIFTVPM.
What's good? You back down on the soil, rocking with the bigs on What's in It for the Black People Media.
And yo, my music is addictive to the user. I let the rush soothe them, they tune in, then I school them. Listen, homie, this shit ain't real. It's just illusions used to fool men, women, and child to confusion. Start running wild, changing views when niggas think they winning when they losing. Caught up in movements, moving foolish, letting life fool them, betting they life losing, trying to better their life when vice moving, cruising, grabbing clicks and cruising, bagging chicks and dudes off tips with slick maneuvers, turn OGs to broke thieves and hungry crooks. Stand sideways my way, giving me funny looks. That's why I hide my money in books. They scared to learn, allergic to words, swerving towards murderous curves. In the dark, working the curve. I'ma still shine cause I'm the light, and I'ma burn to my purpose to serve. Knowledge is power, and ignorance is bliss. It's the wisdom that shines through the visions of the mist. The main challenge is to maintain a balance between your soul and the body, and control is the science. Knowledge is power, and ignorance is bliss. It's the wisdom that shines through the visions of the mist. The main challenge is to maintain a balance between your soul and the body, and control is the science. Pussy on the brain, T-bone steaks, a pint of dog, light in the jaw, pushing cane on the paper, writing bars, lines that similar to scars that run deep. I've been involved in the race since the beginning, running these streets like Kenyans when it was dark with no heat. Used to spar with the stars before I nod to sleep. I hardly speak, it's hard for me, but all I see from the broads and the cars on this darkened street, parts of me from the heart is hard, and Mars was deep, starving for the part when we would start to eat. Since Marvin argued deep with an armory of harmony, charming my father's feet, calm them, alcoholic talking, constantly walking through the valley with his arms on me. I've been here since life in itself, good versus evil in the hood with my people, fight myself. Knowledge is power, ignorance is bliss. It's the wisdom that shines through the visions of the mist. The main challenge is to maintain a balance between your soul and the body, and control is the science. Knowledge is power, ignorance is bliss. It's the wisdom that shines through the visions of the mist. The main challenge is to maintain a balance between your soul and the body, and control is the science. Quiet is kept, my words kept, miners and vets, higher than pilots and jets, behind the sirens and tech, shorties crying out west. It's been a war going on since Osiris and Set, before man acquired the text, written in stone on walls. It's all laws and the signs of commit of how society slept in the eyes of the best. The science of life and dying, plus the desires of flesh. We lost while we floss, the boss signing the checks, while we off buying the best. Diamond shines on our necks, wet with blinding effects, the kind that remind me of blinding baguettes. In a timepiece that a time lead, make time freeze, live and direct in 60 seconds. Time me is hardly a heartbeat, a heartbeat, a thing that separates my mind and my flesh, rewinding my steps to where I first started. Of God, knowledge is power, ignorance is bliss. It's the wisdom that shines through the visions of the mist. The main challenge is to maintain a balance between your soul and the body, and control is the science. Knowledge is power, ignorance is bliss. It's the wisdom that shines through the visions of the mist. The main challenge is to maintain a balance between your soul and the body, and control is the science.
Did I need to? McIntosh and Terrence Tomlin.
He's bare-chested, banging.
Right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, what has Coach Silas's
Appreciate it.
Yeah, hey John, man, good to see you back out there on the court and healthy, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, what has Coach Silas
Appreciate it.
Yeah, hey John, man, good to see you back out there on the court.
What's going on, everybody? We are getting the John Wall video straight. It's giving us problem for 2 days. Now I know it's just this video that's playing tug of war with us, but we're right there about to get it straight.
All right, let's see if we got it lined up now, man. Here we go.
Sit back and enjoy John Wall and Eugene from a couple of days ago at the United Center.
Hey John, man, good to see you back out there on the court and healthy, man.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, what has Coach Silas's message been to you as far as running the squad, and how do you think you can make a guy like James game more easy? You know, for him being mostly a ball dominant guy.
Coach just told me just be myself. You know what I mean? But at the same time, I'm being a floor general out there and leading, and he let me call a lot of plays. But at the same time, Coach is also challenging me and coaching me, and that's what I love about that aspect, that he loved my leadership, but he also is correcting me when I'm doing things wrong. And I'm going to ask him questions and asking the other coaches on the staff questions. And I feel like the way I play, at times when James is tired and he don't want to play and go get plays, make plays for himself, I could be a guy to take the pressure off of him. And that'll open up the lane even more for me when I get to run pick and rolls, because with a guy like that can score at all levels, they might not want to help on the weak side. So now I got a guy, maybe Eric Gordon, Ben McLemore, Daniel House, or DeMarcus Cousins or Christian Woods, that get open shots. I just look at it like we had a lot of open shots today. I mean, the first 2 games of the preseason, we've been getting a lot of open shots, and that's really just us moving the ball or me getting downhill. So just imagine adding another guy in James Harden that we all know what he's capable of.
Appreciate it.
Gino, man. That was John Wall, first of all. Talking to Gene after what that was an L to the Bulls on a couple of days ago, the second preseason game of the year. But, the big story out of Houston is James Harden. He just returned to the team and played with them for the first time. But they traded Russell Westbrook for John Wall. And John Wall has looked really good after a couple of years off from injury. In that Houston system, he's looking as fast as ever. And now everybody's wondering, is this enough for James Harden to want to play here again?
Obviously not, because he's continued to state that he wants out of Houston, and he said that adding John Wall isn't going to get him to stay. So, first of all, did you see the picture of James Harden when he showed up last night?
I did see the picture of Kendrick Perkins. James Harden.
Ricky Rose.
That was James Harden. But I'm still kind of, I'm actually tripping from what they said this morning. You know what I mean? Now,
I didn't hear this morning. What?
I don't know if James Harden is maybe leaking these stories on himself to kind of continue to push his way out of Houston. But here's the quote from an anonymous source who was a member of the Rockets coaching staff in 2019. He says, if they have multiple days off, everybody knows James is going to fly somewhere else and party, but he's going to come back and have a 50-point triple-double, so everybody here is okay with it. I feel like that has to be discussed because I know everybody loved, to hear the stories of Dennis Rodman going to Vegas in the middle of the playoffs and turning up and, with Carmen Electra and they doing their thing at the Berto Center. We all love to hear the crazy stories about athletes and everything. But that man was winning championships at the time.
And the players were fine with it. The man, Big Mike, said, hey, man, Dennis, he told Phil, man, let dude do whatever he got to do. But as long as he comes back to this arena and does his job on a nightly basis, I don't have no problem with him staying up for 48 hours straight. So let's nip that in the bud there. The players in the front office were fine with letting him do that. Do you think well, obviously one of the coaches just said some people, that ain't everybody. So I wish it wasn't anonymous and we knew who this assistant coach was.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure the
There's
guys.
no reason to be anonymous.
I'm pretty sure those guys weren't up with that. Like
that's the next. They got quotes from Russell Westbrook saying how tired he was of James Harden being late for film sessions to the point where one film session he screamed out, "Start the film, start without him." Yeah, I mean, if you pissing Russell, we've heard some stories about Russell Westbrook being, more interested in things that's not necessarily basketball. But he met his match in Houston with James Harden. You know the jokes are strip club Harden, bro. You know where you going to find him in Houston. You see he's kicking it with all the latest rappers and no shade to that. I mean, that's cool. But that's
ain't
what
cool
we see
when
from
you
James
supposed
Harden.
to be getting ready for training camp, man. You ain't you ain't LeBron. If it was LeBron or Mars that got 4 ships in their back pocket, then yeah, we cut him a little slack. But James Harden, he don't get cut no slack, bro. And this is back to what we were saying. This is a guy who's been given everything he's asked for in Houston. So
everything. They said that since he's been there in 2012, he had the final say on every coach firing. It's like, hold on, that's you got the keys. You know what I mean? So it's funny that now that he wants out, now they're like, okay, now this is where we're gonna tell you no. It's like we've told you no we told you yes since you've been here, but now that you want to leave, no.
Yeah, we've given you everything, and we haven't reached the mountaintop yet. So maybe it's time to do things another way. And spoiled NBA guys that make $40 million a year.
Though. This is another level as being spoiled.
You know what I call it, host stud activity, man.
Major host stud activity going on. But I feel like that is why they totally have to trade James Harden now. Like he can't stay in Houston, right?
I think he's gonna be in Houston at least for this year. Whew. And I think that's a pretty decent lineup that they're going to throw out there to start the season, man.
It is a decent lineup, but for the sake of your team, James Harden obviously doesn't want to be here. Like, I heard his post-game. He sounds fed up, bruh. I'm not saying give him what he wants, but it gets to a point where I feel like it's better for your team to trade this guy. We saw who got traded and got a massive return this offseason. We've seen just I feel like all the trades, like Rob Covington to Portland, he got traded for a first-round pick.
Right.
You probably could get a whole new organization for James Harden if a team is willing to give up that.
But you see what people are asking in return: 3 first-round draft picks and all this type of stuff. And it's like, who's gonna take a $40 million contract, man? It's a lot of money, bro.
Miami, you think? I mean, James Harden and Jimmy Butler.
I ain't sure Jimmy.
In that East, I feel like Miami is going to need some more firepower,
Jimmy and James Harden in the same lineup, I don't know about that.
Jimmy gets to, what I mean? Yeah.
I don't even think Pat Riley is a different breed. And if you ain't jaying down and drawing off of what Pat Riley wants to do, first of all, you coming to camp, you coming to the team in shape. If you're not, fall back until you get in shape. Ain't gonna be no shenanigans.
It hasn't been a player that Pat Riley didn't think he could mold into.
I agree.
Who he needed to be a championship caliber player.
But James Harden is 10, 11, 12 years into his career already.
But still with some of the most crazy offensive skills we've seen. Like, I don't necessarily enjoy his style of basketball, but like one of the coaches on the squad said, he come in and drop 50 off nothing.
Yeah, but it's a few guys who, if they had the high usage rate like James Harden does and played, I would call it selfish. But then we hear James Harden say that's not the way he wants to play. And it's like, well, where do we draw the line? Like, where's the BS in that? Because if that's not the way you want to play, them guys are pros that you play with, bro. Like, we can talk all we want about Russ. I'm not the biggest Russell Westbrook fan. You know that. But Russ is another walking triple-double. So I feel like whatever team James Harden goes to and he's not able to do what makes him James Harden, then it's not going to be conducive to the culture of that basketball team. So if you're talking about adding him to a team who's on the verge of winning a championship like the Miami Heat, I think that totally throws off what they're trying to do in Miami, because that's a selfless. If anything, the Miami Heat showed me selfless basketball last year. We saw Tyler Hero step up. I mean, Tyler Hero was raw at Kentucky. We knew him from high school, but the way he stepped up into that role, into the NBA Finals as a rookie, Duncan Robinson.
Yeah, but I feel like, yes, they have a solid team, but we know that they don't have enough firepower. It's why they lost to Los Angeles.
I agree, but I don't think James Harden is who you bring in to get them over the hump. I feel like his style of play is not it, man. Unless he can scale back a bit. And another thing, stats, man. I hate stat nerds. I hate everything that has to do with stats and sports outside of
you definitely, if I had to say Gene hated anything, I'd say analytics, stat nerds.
Analogics blow my mind.
Anybody from that family.
And I feel like people, like you said, a 50-point triple-double. Yeah, whip-de-doo. It's great to watch on TV. It's fun to see the highlights. But at the end of the day, that's not how you win basketball games. Superstars make players around them better sometimes. Like, I feel like my favorite player in the league, D Rose is always, but Damian Lillard is my favorite player in the league. And I feel like even Dame may have to scale his game. Dame is another guy who can drop 30 without even trying. But he's going to have to scale his game back just a bit. I still don't think the Portland Trail Blazers are winning no ship. But I feel like for them to get the maximum out of the team, I feel like Dame as the leader of that team is going to have to scale his game back a bit. The ball is still going to be in his hands at the end of the game. CJ McCollum, too. They're like a 1-2 combo. I feel like both of those guys, their stats are going to be the stats at the end of the game regardless. But you got to scale your game back a bit and do what's best for the team. So I feel like if James Harden can't do that on whatever team he wants to be traded to, then he may as well stay in Houston. But my thing, and I'm asking you, if you John Wall, Boogie Cousins, Eric Gordon, Danielle House Jr., and these other guys who've been on John Wall and Boogie I knew, but Daniel House and a couple other guys who've been PJ Tucker. With Harden, How do you feel about this guy? Do you take it personal, or is it just, I mean, because these guys have relationships with each other. They know each other. Does James have, I'm pretty sure James has conversations with these guys, but I'm interested to know how they take it. If you were one of those guys, how would you take it?
Let me marinate on that, man. I off the back, I don't know if I like that, but I always refer to the athletes. And John Wall said something interesting that I'm going to share with y'all when we get back. Let's take a quick break. You're kicking it on the soil with the bigs.
Yeah.
Quality black emojis, better known as Blackmoji. We believe black is beautiful, and that beauty should be reflected in the digital market. Now there is an app that does just that, starting with Black Greek letter organizations. Blackmoji D9 offers more than an emoji app. It is a cultural experience of Black excellence. Download the app in the Apple or Google Play Store to access a specially curated catalog of emojis representing the Divine Nine. Use the emojis to celebrate Black Greek events, acknowledge current events, support social causes, and learn about esteemed Black Greek members who blaze the trail of Black history. A portion of every subscription goes toward a scholarship fund specifically for members of Black Greek letter organizations to help keep the legacy alive. Download the Blackmoji app today.
You're listening to The Bigs with Eugene, McIntosh, and Terrence Tomlin.
He's bare-chested,
right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
Keep it funky,
how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we. Yeah, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we. Yeah, that's how we, They say it takes a village to raise us, but who's to blame beside the ways of the world we made from? Raised around plates with razors, drug raids at night by racist whites that plague us, chase us and raise, so they isolate us in cages, cause we engage interstate trades to generate paper. It's subliminal, our criminal nature, and rentals bending through the residential without a minute to waste. We never honor minimum wage in Section 8, that may never escalate us to escalate trucks. We know how to measure the road and the distance it takes to go and finish the race at a deliberate pace. At this rate, there's no way I can't make it today. To the day the state assembled they delivery case. It's so sinister these days, even the ministers pray. Our daily bread, give us this day and let us live in this grace. It ain't safe, watch your ways, drive-bys on one way. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. Hiding packs behind dumpsters, stacking for the summer. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. Shorties don't act their age as babies, make it pay. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. Gotta make it out this maze, it's made for me to stay. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. I can't fault her for being a fatherless daughter, caught up in the slaughter that taught her she was just a baby mama. I can't call it, but I hear her pain when she talking, acting hard, when she's more fragile than a salsa. That's the cause of why she walks cautious. A dime in my mind, but can't see she's a sober. All struck by hard luck, she keeps her guard up. She wants no part of the heartless frauds that scar her. Seeking stardom just to fill the hole where her heart was. Far from the days when she longed to play a part. A star role with her name and stars. The front page opposing on a stage runway in Milan. Instead of rolling down the one way, baby in her arms and a stroller full of dreams that lay within her palms. Her fatal fate from courting on short dates to civil court cases and child support paid. It ain't safe, watch your ways, drive-bys on one way. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. Hiding packs behind dumpsters, stacking for the summer. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. Shorties don't act their age as babies, make it pay. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. Gotta make it out this maze, it's made for me to stay. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. Hustling is a reaction. We adopted street savvy on the blocks we jab. Keep tabs on each baggie, watching the peace traffic with weak habits. They keep at it even when it's hot, cause them people wreak havoc on the beat with sleep tactics at us weeks after they capture G, standing low key with the D-pack, pushing O's. The build is riddled with bullet holes, even when it's looking slow, still dealing it till it's gone. It's still with the will and the willingness to get on, so they can roll on chrome and appeal to silly hoes. I feel them though, ain't nothing like peeling dough, riding clean, sipping on Remy slow with the ceiling gone, gone. Off the killer bow, concealed in our clothes, from Cicero to Cottage Grove, they got it tipping like toes. All we know is what we see, and all we see is what we know. Surviving in these streets until your time is gone. It ain't safe, watch your ways, drive-bys on one way. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. Hiding packs behind dumpsters, stacking for the summer. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. Shorties don't act their age as babies, make it pay. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride. Gotta make it out this maze, it's made for me to stay. That's how we, that's how we, that's how we, that's how we ride.
Man, you're on the soil with the bigs, man. I'm in the building. I'm Eugene McIntosh. To the right of me is my player partner, Terrence Tomlin, a.k.a. T-Tom the Great.
What up, people?
And, man, I had to take it there, T. I had to take it there, man. For everybody that doesn't know, that's the great Mick Luter. How We Raised, produced by the great SC. SC has produced for everybody from Puffy to Mobb Deep to Bump J, Lupe Fiasco, and everybody in between.
Game.
Man.
I mean, yeah, man.
The game.
Everybody, bruh.
Man,
yes, sir.
That's like...
Hey, the set is strong, bruh.
Yeah, the set is extremely strong. Shout out to Reese in the building. La Reese Trotter.
As usual, man. He's one of our regulars, as usual.
And, man,
you know?
Reese plays a huge part in what we do musically back here. But, yeah, I had to get that Mick Luter off, man. How We Raised, that was probably Mick's best video. I remember it like it was yesterday. It got it was like the first thing we did after the Epic Records deal, and I felt like things were going.
Standing on your independence.
Yeah,
still.
man, things were going in the right direction. You saw all the guys out there. That was Mick's actual family in the video, so that was real. That was just a real moment in itself, outside of the music and the message behind the message in the music. That was actually Mick's family and all of his real homies and everything. So, man, shout out to Mick Luda. Like I said, every day, every time we come here on the soil, man, you're going to hear a lot of Mick Luda, because that was my inception into the music industry and the game itself. So,
man, I'm looking forward to that being a strong aspect of our show, bro. I'm looking for more videos, and artists got to get over here, and because I know your phone is full of people wanting you to get back into the music game, want you to take your jersey back down from the Raptors and put it on. But I'm feeling like, here we go. Here's a way back into the game for you, us, the people. I just thoroughly enjoyed that. It gave a whole new aspect of it. I'm seeing the comments, they loved it too. Yes, sir, bro. We got to do that again, you know?
Yeah, man. I'm keeping my jersey in the rafters, but
It's staying in the rafters.
It's staying in the rafters, but anybody that's been a part of the Stay Humble family, they know I always got love for them, and anything I can do to help them prosper and further their careers, I'm always down to do. So, again, shout out to Reese, Reese Trotter, a.k.a. Reese Rolex, a.k.a. the Urban Craftsman.
The Urban Craftsman.
For aiding and assisting the Stay Humble movement and being behind the scenes on a lot of underground music that's been going on. BJ the Chicago Kid, SC, a number of guys out here, man.
The team is strong. Reese said something. He always says something that makes me laugh, but he said something that stuck in my head the other day. He said, to not be those guys, y'all, we get the respect of those guys. You know what I mean? Something along those lines.
No, we those guys, man.
Oh, exactly.
I told y'all earlier, man, people owe.
But those guys, you feel me?
Oh, those guys, right.
Uh-huh.
Right. No, people definitely owe, not just myself, but they owe all of our whole clique. I ain't going to be shouting out the guys' names because they don't need it, but all you Twitter guys, all you Facebook guys, especially the Twitter guys, man, y'all been biting our style. Y'all ain't paid homage in years, but just know,
man,
just know that y'all owe me, Reese, Terry, Brian, all of the guys, man. Y'all owe us some Father's Day cards, so I'll be looking for my card in the mail.
Better put it in the mail early. Don't miss it.
Yeah, man.
Gino, man, you know what? I want to make sure we talk about something that you have kept, in our conversations off the air for the last few weeks, man. And I feel like it's the perfect time to bring it up because it was some interesting news in rotation yesterday with my former university where I got my degree from, Morgan State. If you watching, you know I'm a proud Morgan State University alum. Went out to Baltimore for 5 years, man, and really had a special college experience. Considering the fact that, Gino, I know a lot of people wouldn't guess it, but I was not interested in college after high school. I ended up meeting a couple of people that are still instrumental in my life. Shout out to Emmanuel Jackson, who owns a spot on 47th Street right now, cybersecurity spot.
Okay.
But he ended up blessing me and my brother. I have a twin, and it's tough to send two kids to college at the same time, man. We ended up getting money to go to the university, Morgan State out in Baltimore, and that's basically where I shaped my mindset of what I wanted to do in my career, man. Fell in love with sports, media, and got to be around people like Todd Bozeman, who he coached Jason Kidd at the University of California.
Yeah.
He became the Morgan State head coach while we was there. So I know you played D1, baseball at Southern, man. So we both come from a rich HBCU background of sports. You know what I mean? Deion Sanders, bruh. That contract that he got to coach at his alma mater, right?
No. Deion went to Florida State, but he's now the head coach at Jackson State.
Jackson State.
SWAC running things, man.
I want to talk about that for a second. We're gonna jump into a break. Let's keep it going.
Yeah.
Can you break it down to me, the levels of this contract that Deion Sanders got? Because if I was about to be a coach to anybody, I would want this contract.
Deion Sanders has been named the head coach at Jackson State University. know, I'm a proud member of Southern University, the SWAC, man. I think, like we talked about the other day, I feel like the SWAC and the MEAC do not get the props that they deserve outside of the people who have attended HBCUs and have played sports and been a part of that situation. So I just feel like when you say black colleges, you know, people get this, I don't know what they think the competition is like, but if you were there, it's that famous Mickey Halstead quote, those that know. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Deion Sanders, he knows the science behind that, and that's why he chose that job at Jackson State. Let alone wanting to give back to the people, wanting to give back to these young black kids who don't really have the necessary opportunity. I feel like having Deion in there, it brings some type of validity to your program. And with the contract, I think his contract is $300K per year.
Okay.
He gets 10% of the ticket sales over 30,000. The stadium holds 60,000. And he gets a $100K bonus if they move to another conference. Now that's kind of where I'm kind of like,
seen a bunch of HBCU schools move conference in the last
yeah, it's
year,
like,
though.
do we really want to move the conference though, man? We trying to big up the SWAC and big up the MEAC and make these conferences just.
They already came in there like, look at her being nice to Ron today. It wasn't gonna last.
You always mess.
I think Asia came in like, for now, like just for a little while.
Just for a little while.
Just for a little while. Just for a little while. Somebody let that man in the page. Somebody let that man in the page, Robin. Please let him in. I said what I said. Herb too, right here on What's in It for the Black People Media.
You are tuned in to Minding Our Black-Owned Business. We have now one team.
You and Michael talked about some key stuff. Basically, the project needed insurance. I'm now in the space of commercial real estate and trying to understand what that looks like. And so I have a wonderful, normal insurance person that, you know, when I'm doing events and stuff, that covers it.
Yep.
But what happened is when you have commercial real estate, there's different insurance you need. And when you're getting a loan, my bank wanted 133% of the actual loan project cover, right? And this number was high in the six figures. We got the quotes from bigger companies like the State Farms and the Countryside and all of them. That's who they were with. I was getting back prices like between $11,000 and $15,000 for like a 6-month policy, for a construction policy. And we got to eat this ridiculous amount of money. And mind you, it's COVID. My company, there's no money coming in. Everything was stopped. I'm like, oh, we got to do it. We got to get this insurance. Michael did that post. And with me, I'm always trying to support not just Black, but my own. If I know you, it's a trust thing, right?
Yep.
So I immediately, as soon as I sent that post, I text Mike. I'm like, dude, can you do this? And it was like a Saturday night. He hit Junior. Really? I'm like, oh, send that contract right now, Junior. We good. And I mean, literally, I didn't know that because we're so used to hearing brands doing insurance. What I've learned during COVID is to stop and really read. I love the pictures and everything, but when you start to read the context, like people be like, when Michael or people are putting stuff and they're saying, are you really reading?
Right.
Or are you just going along with everybody saying congratulations and filtering the first thing that pops up that Facebook wants you to say? And Michael has coached me in so many things that literally saved me money. And I wanted people to know, especially when you're getting into commercial mixed use, if it's property, you need someone with insurance. My insurance person told us, she says, it's best to go through someone like Michael, but people don't know those companies exist because what happens is they would actually solicit Michael for pricing. Then Michael would give them a price, then Country Time put their pricing on it, and then the agent has to put their prices on it, and that's why you get triple the cost.
Right.
Everybody's hand is in it because they're reaching out to brokers.
Dame Lillard, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
Hey, this is Jason Kidd, and we're rocking with the Bigs.
I'm Chris Bryant from the Chicago Cubs, and I'm rocking with the Bigs.
This is Mark Cuban, Dallas Mavericks. You're rocking with the Bigs.
Keep it funky, all right?
Yeah, this is the west side, Windy City in the city, empty Phillies, plenty fifths of Remy, pitching pennies on tips with 20s. More than rapper music, in fact, it's the truth with avenues with cats jabbing, stacking loot, moving sacks and shoes. Where the people be creeping deep in the evening, peeking out Caprices, peeking, but I seen them before they see me leaving. Chevy Regals, Grand Marquises, Vans and Jeeps, Saran, sandwich bags, plastic wrap gram stashed under the seats. It's getting scandalous on the land, no more hand-to-hand jabbing. Counsel that they got cameras planted, scanning the streets. Abandoned buildings, not so nice looking, hypes and hookers, pipes with cook up under lights at night, look up behind they pushers. Old ladies strolling, pushing baby strollers and Old Navy overcoats, hopeless, they facing cold cuz over the way. We holding O's or overdoses, posted on the corner for pay. Either dope, doja, yay, nigga. Shot-town, home of the gangsters, stones and foes, takers unknown, seas, kings, breeze, BDs and souls. Mafia's travelers from Casa to Madison, Ogden to Ashland to Jackson to rocks, weed and low. Since the 50s they've been in business, since they were penniless, underprivileged tenants living in tenements. In the beginning, gangs was invented to defend the innocent from oppressors that rejected the niggas blending in. Some say it's foolishness, moving with numerous platoon units, hella tune against lunatics, but we knew the limit. From thugs on the street, BM gloves and regions and beats, plug with gloves, meet mud slugs and heaters is tough. But a fist is stronger than a finger.
We are back on the soil, back in action. You know, anytime we gotta leave you, we never gone for too long. We right back in action. Shout out to the team holding us down, getting us right back to you guys to finish up the show today, man. Before we left, man, we were talking about what's going on in HBCU sports, which I feel like is going to end up affecting college sports as a whole. We're seeing them pluck some big talent from some of these big schools. Deion Sanders just got one of the most interesting contracts I've ever seen from Jackson State. But, you know, you got to look deeper into it to see that that's not a one-off. I mean, I feel like that Deion Sanders hiring Jackson State was the continuation of a trend we've been seeing in college sports when it comes to HBCUs. I talked about Morgan State. Tyrone Wheatley, former NFL running back who played for
the Raiders.
Raiders.
Went to University of Michigan.
Went to the University of Michigan, where most people know him from. Just was on Doug Ragone's coaching staff as the running backs coach for the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Okay.
Is currently the head coach of the Morgan State football team. You know what I mean? And I feel like he's going into his second or third year. But, man, you know, and I said that Deion is, you know, obviously the highest profile. But I feel like they're understanding that if they want to kind of pull more talent to their organizations, they got to kind of get more high-profile head coaches.
No doubt about it. And I feel like, I mean, Deion is one of those guys, man. I feel like Deion, prime time speaks volumes about his character.
First of all, he got like 3 commercials on TV right now.
Right. And I feel like just prime time speaks to his character and who he was as a personality on the field. But off the field, I feel like Deion definitely has if he didn't have it then, he has that knowledge of self now. Because when you hear Deion speak on these podcasts, when you see him pop up on Instagram Live talking about things that, you know, he has his opinion on, it sounds like a different guy than the guy that we loved in the Atlanta Falcons, San Francisco 49ers, Dallas Cowboys, Atlanta Braves.
The flashy Deion, right?
Yeah, I feel like that's most of us, even myself. I mean, I told you I feel godly like Horus with all this gold on.
Yes, sir.
But even myself, I feel like certain things as I've grown and gotten older, certain things are just not as important as they were. And other things that I didn't deem as important are even more important now. So I feel like Deion catching that wave and being able to come back and give that back to these kids who, again, when you playing high school sports, you know, these Power 5 conferences, it feels like if you're not recruited by those guys, then you feel like your chances at playing professional sports is almost dead. Mm-hmm. But I feel like nowadays, so much more than back when we were coming up in the 90s when I was being recruited, I feel like there's so many new avenues, especially with social media. I mean, social media has changed the world, but in general, but I feel like sports, like there's that saying, like, if you're good enough, you'll get noticed. And I agree with that to a certain extent, but I feel like now with the way that people consume their information, the way you can put your own tapes together, you can broadcast your games through Instagram or through, you know, Huddle or what all these different streams and all these different ways to be recognized. I feel like recruitment has moved forward in such a way that you don't have to feel like if you're not going to Alabama, LSU, Florida for football, Kentucky, Duke, North Carolina for basketball, Florida State, Cal State, Fullerton, Arizona State for baseball. I feel like you can take a step back because a lot of people, you don't really know your worth until you get there, and then you get to go to college and you get to play against these players who have the same background as you, the same level of experience as you, and you get to understand, you know, just what you're working with, man.
You know what I'm seeing that some things about the players that have decided to go to HBCU, some of the more talented players, I'm seeing they got something in common, bruh. Their parents are HBCU alums.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And I feel like it's the timing of this. You got to look at the fact that, you know what I mean, these are your generation's, you know, kids going to college now. And, you know, like you said, we you know, a lot of the black people from our generations ended up going to HBCUs. Like, the school days generation, you know what I mean? These are their kids that are going to college now, man. And I feel like we're going to continue to see more and more kids understanding that they have more options than those typical PWIs. And honestly, I feel like, you know, almost on the same kind of, in the same lane of the Negro League conversation we were having early on in the show, go back and look at the origin. You know what I mean? When HBCU football was the cream of the crop, you know what I mean? And they were pulling, you know, the NFL talent was coming from historically black colleges. You know what I mean? One of the coolest things about Morgan State, and I'm sure you could probably say the same thing about Southern, is when you go into the athletic facility, is, you know, they have a rich history of Hall of Famers.
Oh, man.
Olympians. You know what I mean? The history of HBCU sports is valuable and rich, and the younger generation needs to carry that mantle a little bit harder, I feel like.
Ain't no doubt about it.
You know what I mean? So I feel like that's what we're seeing, and Deion Sanders filling that void, because I totally feel like he's the answer to a bunch of questions when it comes to HBCU sports. It's like, can they get high-profile coach? Here he is, here. And I don't think he's going to be the last. You know?
At all. And to add to just the Jackson State part, Walter Payton came from Jackson State. If you're a football player
Sweetness.
And you don't know the Sweetness, who's, if not the greatest football player of all time, one of the top 5, having Prime there is one thing, but having Walter Payton be an alumni, that has to speak volumes about coming there and wanting to build on that foundation and that legacy. And just the experience in itself, T, I feel like when I got down to Southern, man, it opened me up to a whole different world, because coming from Mount Carmel, and I was one of those guys. I mean, I was all city, I was all whatever in baseball, and I felt like when I wasn't recruited by these high-profile, you know, I'll call them predominantly white institutions.
Oh, come on, easily. Go ahead.
You know, I felt like
that
my
you
chances
hadn't...
I felt like my chances of my dream of
That's
playing
real,
professional
man.
baseball was shot. So I want to give a shout out, because I was playing summer league baseball, and one of Southern University's assistant coaches, shout out to Coach Jerry Flowers, who's I think he's working in the Cincinnati Reds organization right now.
Okay.
But he was there.
Dope.
He was there to see another player, and I never forget, we were at TF South. We were playing a game. TF South was like one of the home fields we used. And we were playing there, and I had a damn good game that day. And I was sitting over there talking to my mother, and the coach came up to me, and he was like, man, you know, I was here to watch another player from the other team, but I saw you, and I was interested to know, you know, where you going to college next year. And I'm like, well, man, right now I don't have a college to go to. I'm just trying to decide on the fly. And he was like, well, man, I'm assistant coach at Southern University. My name is Jerry Flowers. Man, we would love for you to come down to Southern, and, we'll give you a little money. Baseball scholarships, they're partial scholarships. So he's like, we got a little money for you. We could come down. You could play your way onto the team. He was like, I definitely think you got what it takes.
That's a dream scenario.
And I had no idea what I've heard Southern University, but I had no idea about the history and none of that. So when I got down there, going back to what you were saying about going into I forgot the name of, what was our dome called? The basketball stadium. But Coach Cato, the guy who I give all the credit to for me becoming the guy who I was, because I was feeling myself. I got down there thinking my britches were big, thought I was bigger than I was.
Coming from Chicago.
Coming from the crib, we got this aura about ourselves. And Coach Cato basically told me that I was on a path to destruction. He was like, son, if you don't get yourself together, you're going to be a statistic. And I kind of thought he was hating on me at first, but then when I kind of had to take a step back and look at myself, I realized that I was the problem. It was like, man, coach don't like me. He giving this Southern hospitality to these guys who are from down here. He just don't know how raw I am. But when I thought about it, I wasn't putting in the necessary work, and I wasn't doing the things that were necessary for me to be the best player I was. But when I go into Coach Cato's office that's in the basement of the basketball stadium, you walk through the stadium and you see the Hall of Fame, like you said, Bobby Fields, rest in peace, Bobby Fields, Avery Johnson, and all these different guys who come from Southern University and who've had great pro careers and have continued to go on to be great men in this world. It's like these are the things that we don't know about, and it's up to us and it's up to family members who come from these historically black colleges to push us to that culture, because
yes, man,
I can only imagine that had I gone to a white university, what my life would be like now. Maybe I would have gotten a chance to play pro, maybe not.
Spit out.
That's how I'm feeling mostly. But I feel like that couple years at Southern University helped me out so much that I would push for any black kid to go big up the HBCUs and turn that thing into a Power 5 conference.
You know what else is going to help? And this is just a tidbit I want to make sure I include. Mackenzie Scott, man, Jeff Bezos' ex-wife, has given away $6 billion in 4 months, bro.
Wow.
And yesterday she gave another 6 to a historically black college institution. She gave $40 million to Morgan State. And all of the donations that she gave were the highest donations that those institutions had ever received. So this is a great time for HBCUs. I know even when I was at Morgan State, the conversation was stop giving money to the Harvards, to the Princetons, and give it to the schools that really need that.
Day,
you know what I mean?
So
that was great to see yesterday. Shout out to Mackenzie Scott. You get a salute from this Morgan State alum. But man, you hit the nail on the head, Gino. I feel like your story is so important to young athletes that are going to be in that situation, you know what I mean, where they're going to be pushed outside their bubble and understand that the world was bigger than Chicago. And now you're faced with the question, do I have what it takes to dig deeper? And can I be real with myself when I'm not living up or doing what I need to do in order to be the best player or student athlete that you need to be, man? So
yeah, 100%, man.
But I mean, it was the HBCU, like you said, that shaped you, man. So salute to all the HBCU alums out there. We need those programs to stay on the up and up, man. Like, I would love to see HBCU squad in the Final Four or in the national championship playing Alabama or something. You know what I mean? I would love to see that.
It's coming sooner than later, man. And shout out to McCord Maker, Mikey Williams, the quarterback in I can't think. Let me find his name real quick before we get out of here, man. His name is, let me find his name. The guy that's going to Grambling State, Noah Biden. He says he wants to be a trendsetter for historically black colleges. He's the #1 quarterback in New York City. He said he's going to Grambling State. He's going to make the commitment. And it's guys like that who can set the standard. And like you said, it's a lot of the parents who can push these guys and give them the background needed to be able to go down
that
there,
you can get everything that
you want
and need from these historically black colleges. It's bussing. You know what I mean? It's bussing. Let's go, HBCUs. Gino, Are you watching the Bulls before we get out here? Are you watching the Bulls game tonight, the third game of the preseason?
Of course.
Down OKC.
Man, of course I'm watching. I want to see Billy Donovan insert Patrick Williams into the starting lineup, sit Laurie Markkinen down, let him think about how huff he's been. I don't want to see Wendell Carter shooting a bunch of three-pointers. I want to see him get his back to the basket, get some post-game. And I want to see Kobe White excel, stop trying to be CP3, and just get out there and do your thing. But before we get out of here, man, I want to give a shout-out to Tara Vanderveer, the head coach at Stanford. She's been in women's basketball for 42 years. Last night she passed Pat Summitt in all-time wins with 1,099.
Yes.
Gino Auriemma is third on the list with 1,093. Tara Vanderveer, 31 tournament appearances, 14 Final Fours.
I'm about to say, every time you
national
look up,
championships.
She's deep into the tournament on the women's side.
Hey,
for
man,
sure.
my mama, like I tell y'all, my mother is the first person to put me on to women's college basketball back in the late 80s with
What up, Moms?
Louisiana Tech and the Lady Texas. My mama is the biggest Pat Summitt fan around. R.I.P. Pat Summitt. She was an outstanding lady, outstanding head coach at Tennessee. And we know Gino Auriemma is a great coach at UConn. So got to shout out Tara for doing her thing at Stanford last night.
Absolutely. Like I said, you can always count on Stanford being in the mix in the tournament. Definitely one of the great coaches in sports today. Good call on that one. We definitely had to mention that one for sure.
Are you watching the Bulls tonight?
You know what? I'm going to try to watch the Bulls, man. It's the preseason. You know what I mean? I may have to show a little bit of time to my lady, but
yeah,
it's the preseason. But when December 22nd, 23rd hits.
Next week, a week from today, man.
She knows I'm going to be glued to the NBA.
On that note, you have rocked with the brothers on the soil today.
Another one.
Shout out to the family members, everybody tuned in on Instagram, YouTube, Twitter, Facebook, Periscope. Whatever social, Twitch, all of that, man. We appreciate you guys. Up next, we got the brothers.
The one and only.
Cousin 2, Herb Howard. I said what I said Monday through Friday, 3 to 6 p.m. right here on What's in It for the Black People Media. For myself, Eugene McIntosh, my player partner to my right, T-Tom.
What up?
It's the bigs, man. You rocked on the soil with us. Catch us back here Friday from 1 to 3. Shout out to Flo holding us down behind the boards.
Big shout out, most def.
And I'm feeling godly like Horace with all this gold on, man.
Till
2
next
fingers,
time.
we out.
Underprivileged tenants living in tenements in the beginning. Gangs was invented to defend the innocent from oppressors.